Alright, Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin, I'd like to give all praise, all glory, all honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Cha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. As always, we like to say Shalom unto the elect. Alright, this is about Isaiah here. Gonna title this video Isaiah 33 and verse 6. Isaiah 33 and verse 6 reads, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yoshai is his treasure." Right? Gonna get it in the blue letter. Read it in a different translation as well, and extrapolate some words from there. Then go begin the lesson. This is Isaiah 33 and 6 in the NLT, and it says, "In that day, right, he will be your sure foundation, providing a rich store of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord will be your treasure." Right? I'm going to read some other translations, see what they say. I'm going to have a few words. It says, I'm the EMP. Right? It says, "And he will be the security and stability of your times, a treasure of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yoshai is your treasure." Right? So you see, right? So you see in here, it says the stability of thy times, right? So when you go into the word times, it should take it a period of time, right? It says, this one, was that times? Alright, Salakia. Alright. It says time. Let me see if that was the front. Right. If in the Strong's definition, it's from the H6256. It says time, especially adverb with preposition now, when, etc., after, always, certain, continually, evening, long due season. Right, so the times we're heading into now is a long due season of judgment to come upon the earth. Right, we read 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter, reading at the 37th verse. It says, "By measure had he measured the times," right? And with his measure, right? 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, it says, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the prophecy," right? It says prophecies is the readers use to measure the time diligently, right? It says by measure, he measured the times, right? So certain things have to play off, right, according to prophecy, which prophecy just means to say before it takes place. So the past, present, and future. The future before it is said to have taken, or the future before it becomes the present, right? When we say that before it happens, that is prophesying, simple there, right? So to say these things before they take place, it have things which have been said to take place in the earth before they have taken place in the earth, written throughout the scriptures. 2nd Ezra 9 chapter, I mentioned that is yet to take place. Parts of Isaiah 13 yet to take place. Parts of Daniel 7 chapter yet to take place. Right? So we're using these prophecies Right, just a few I call it Jeremiah 51. Use some of these prophecies to measure the time, right? So if you see, for instance, was a big one who took place, the Euphrates rivers, Euphrates. Revelation 16 and 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Right, so when you see that was a big clue to people, prophecies taking place. Now most people, right, as was me at that point in time, unable to break down what this references, right, in the world, right, when they see that it take place, the river Euphrates dry up, they know that written about it in scripture. So when they see these things playing off, know that there's part of the times being measured, right? Because when they go into times, right, it also goes into a period of time, a period of rulership within the earth, and we are at the end of one man's rulership. Second Ezra 6 chapter. So close we get. For Esau is the end of the world. When you go into that world, that word world there, it goes into the word age, eon. Right, so a dispensation in time in which one is to rule, Esau is currently at this end of this world here. This world, when it says end of the world here, if it was to give it a more modern translation, it should say or would say the end of the world as we know it. Right? To the end of the world as we know it. Esau is the end of the world as we know it, and Jacob is the beginning of the world which is to come. Right? I could read in a different translation, but it says by measure the times, right? You see prophecies to measure the times. You see certain prophecies take place, right? So we know we are at this point in prophecy, right? So if we are at this point in prophecy, right, this prophecy is what has to come after it. Right? So aka the nuclear destruction and salvation. The nuclear destruction, or let me say the last four major prophecies, right? Well, it have other prophecies still to play off, but the four major ones, right? Yeah, Jacob Trouble, MOTB being implemented, World War III, which the height of World War III, or the culmination of World War III, would be those nuclear missiles firing off and heading towards a place near you, aka Babylon the Great, and then Yahushua coming to deliver the elect before it's a partake of those flames, right? So when we see Jacob Trouble kick off, you know the answer which the elites have to Jacob Trouble kicking off will be the MOTB. Right, with a microchip they're planting within your brain or within your hands, right? Then after that take place, you know all hell gonna break loose in terms of war, right? Surely third chapter gonna play off. The kings of the earth, right? Generals of these armies gonna gather together in Valley Jehoshaphat, which is the Levant, to do battle there. Right? So when that takes place, we know Yahushua could come any minute after that. Literally any minute after that, we know we almost out of it. Right? So when you measure them times, you measure it according to prophecy. You see this prophecy, looking like it coming to pass, or we in the mid side, so this must happen after that, then after that happens, this must happen, after that happen, this must happen. Right? It says, and by number he numbered the times, right, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So we're not going to be out of here. Literally it says you're not going to be out of here till you're out of here. Right? You're not going to be out of here till you're out of here. You're not going to hasten me to do this because you're crying out so much, right? And I'm not going to sit down and be petty and say, hey, what's going on? I said I was going to do it here. I said I was going to do it at this time. But now let me wait a little bit more. Right? So these prophecies, right? So like he said, this prophecy, right, going to lead to this. You're not going to allow this prophecy to take place. You're not going to allow this prophecy to take place. Yeah, you're not going to allow this prophecy to take place and prolong. Like for instance, Jacob Trouble can't prolong. MOTB being mandated can't be prolonged because Yahushua said that. He said, should no flesh, let me get it, I don't want to butcher it. No flesh. Right, except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. There is Matthew 24 and 22, it says, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So you're not going to be here too little past your measure. and they're not going to be here passing measure. Same thing he told Esau in the book of Job. No, it's that's actually Psalms, no, Job 20 and 27. No. Right, Job 20 and 23. The book of Job 20, start at 22. Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he's about to fill his belly, right, when he's about to accomplish his ultimate enterprise, which is to rule this world completely and utterly, everybody, so aka to become God within the earth. That is his ultimate enterprise, to have everybody enslaved and in servitude unto him. Right? So he said, when he's about to fill his belly, power shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him when he's eating. So aka enterprise not gonna be accomplished. Right? In the snare which he is laid is his own foot taken. Right? So when you go on to Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. So now we're gonna be able using this knowledge and wisdom which we've gathered through the scriptures which we learned from the apostles and others, right, beginning with the apostles and others. We're gonna use all this knowledge that we have to be stable in those times. When you go into that word stable, right? I'll get it in the etymology line as well. Stability. It says H530, firmness. Fidelity, with fidelity goes into faith. Okay. Copy. Steadfastness, steadiness. It says, right, fidelity, faithfulness, devotion. Right? So when you're faithfully devoted to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we're gonna be a state, you're gonna be unmovable in that day. Right? In the midst of Jacob's trouble, dead bodies, piles of dead bodies all around you, and you're not so soon shaken in mind. When you go to second Ezra, the second chapter and the 38th or 9th verse, let me get it. Stood. So second Ezra 2 and 47, he said, so he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of power, whom they have confessed in the world. I've confessed, therefore I believe. I've believed, therefore I've spoken. It says, then began I to greatly commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? So you're gonna have the ability to do that in that day, because you know all, because we're gonna be, because that day, we know that day, for instance, Jacob's trouble. In that period of Jacob's trouble, with the aim to mandate this mandate, right, this MOTB, right, where they're gonna go and mandate this MOTB, right, they're gonna have to be stable in that time, because what they wanna do is bring down draconian measures in order to maintain it, right, to implement it, I should say, Salakia, right, to implement the MOTB, right, after all that trial and tribulation and turmoil, right, which the earth is going to face by and large. Talks about it in Revelation, the 2nd chapter, 2 and 10, 2 and 9, hour of temptation, 3 and 10. Revelation 3 and verse 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Right, when you're going to do with patience, it means to suffer long. So because you have been suffering so long, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which that hour goes into a certain period of time. Now literally going to be one hour of temptation. There's a period of time that's going to come upon the earth. It says, which shall come upon all the world. Right, so it's going to come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Right, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And we know because these men didn't have the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, Isaiah 33 and 6. they wouldn't be stable in that day, right? The scripture talk about Luke 20 and 27, 19 and 27. Twenty and 27, 19, 25. Right, so like 21 and 25. They Luke 21 and 25, and it says, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves wine. When they go into that word perplexity, it goes into what? Not knowing which way to choose. Because they didn't make Yahweh Hashem Yoshai the sure rock and foundation, the hedge, to protect them from all of this mayhem which is about to come upon the earth through the wisdom and knowledge, right? Because scripture talk about Sirach 17 and 15, 17 and 15 and 11. Let me see, Salakia. It says, it's along the lines of all wisdom. 11 and 15, I think. Right, it says, Sirach 11 and 15, it says, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are from the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. Love and the way of good works are from him. So this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is supposed to be gathering up in these times. It's not man's wisdom. James 2 talks about there are two kinds of wisdom. One that is earthly and sensual. That is not the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding you want to gather in these times. Right, that is left hand wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right hand wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You have to be gathering is to have faith in Yahweh Hashem Yoshai in that day. Right, I know all these perilous times are coming upon the earth because the wisdom and knowledge contained within the scriptures. Scriptures talk about this time coming. If the scriptures talk about this time coming, scriptures also talk about how to get out of it, how to escape. Right? So if you're seeing it playing off in front of your eyes, all we was reading throughout the years and doing videos and throughout the years, right? That wisdom which the Lord gave you throughout the years. When that time comes, you're gonna be stable because you're gonna be like, well, yeah, I knew this was coming. That big part of the reason you're gonna be the man of the Lord gonna be stable, like we were see the prophet, the man of the Lord started with the prophets was prophesying this for years. Some had short time ministries than others, but you see, that was all I was saying the same thing all throughout this time. Yeah, this shit gonna hit the fan, and when shit hit the fan, we're gonna be stable because we have the wisdom, knowledge, and we see it coming. It says, and the strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yoshai is his treasure, which is stable minds ultimately gonna lead it to being saved. Because in going to this word stability, it says stability known from the mid. Let me see if I give a verb adjective. Let me see. I'm going to stability known from the mid 14th century. It says stabilite of persons or character. You know, like a character scripture, I talk about what manner of man ought you to be in all holy conversation. Going to that word conversation goes into what manner of life, your way of living. What man ought you to be, knowing the perilous times you're about to head into. Who you're going to put your faith and trust in. It says firmness of resolve, mental equilibrium. Let me see what equilibrium means. Copy. Where is it? Yeah. Equilibrium, it says a state of intellectual or emotional balance. So it says, see here, mental balance, right? So to have mental balance, aka sound in your mind. This was all of this was going to allow you to be sound in your mind during that time to come. It says steadfastness, which you know that scripture, you know that word throughout the scriptures. Just get it. Show what kind of precepts just come up. Steadfast. Is it in Timothy? It's Timothy. Right. Right. It's 1 Peter 5. It says, whom resist steadfast in the faith, right? When you go into that word steadfast, it means to be unmovable. Yes, so you have to be what? Unmovable of fidel, fidelity. Right, you're supposed to be devoted, unmovable in your fidelity, in your faith. Right, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Right, so to be steadfast, unmovable in your faith. Ecclesiasticus 11:20 says, be steadfast in thy covenant. Your covenant goes into your agreement. You made an agreement to the Lord. Right, scripture talk about he that turn it from sin, make it himself a prey. We are about to be praised. We are about to be preyed upon in the earth, drastically. I know the prophets have always been preyed upon, but you're about to have a literal fucking scorpio on your head from Esau Edom, because you ain't wanna, you're not gonna, take his MOTB, right? You have to be faithful. You have to be Sirach. The second chapter talks about it, right? Sirach 2:1 is it 10. Did any ever trust in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua and was confounded? Or did any abide in his faith and was forsaken? Right? You see, Sirach 2:10. Look at the generations of old, right? Which these generations was examples for us, right? Because they knew the end all be all was to have faith and trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? Look at the think about the stories of the second Maccabees, the 7th chapter, the story with the 3 holy children, story with Daniel and the lions. Then, right, these men held their faith till the end. These people, because it's a woman amongst the story in the Maccabees, the second Maccabees, the 7th chapter. But these people held their faith till the end, because they know, they literally say it. They literally sit down and acknowledge, well, yeah, we be in these flames, we be in these torments, we be in this perilous position, for we have sinned against the Lord. Right, but we know at the end, we're gonna be good. Days when the Lord promised them I love him. Right? They would even go on in the second Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. He pointed to the woman, so they say, here we're going on. We be in these dire straits because we have. I didn't think it was the woman, I think it was one of her sons. Right? We be in these dire straits, so we have sinned against the Lord. But you, right, speaking to Edomite, king of the Edomites at the time, and to Yoshua, so you're not gonna escape the torments that the Lord gonna bring upon your nation. Right? We know we had to go through this to learn this lesson, right? We know we had to go through this because we sinned against the Lord, but you, no, your end is certain, right? Here is second this Ecclesiasticus 2:10 says, look at the generations of old and see that ever any trust in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua was confounded. There's the kind of mindset you had to go into, Jacob's trouble with this perilous sandwich upon you, which we see in the signs. We see in NATO and the EU want a war with the beast, want a war with the whore. We see in the bear want to shoot missiles on the whore, want a war with the whore, because that's the end all be all our gonna take place. The bear, aka the Russians, gonna shoot the missiles or shoot the nuclear missiles on America, Babylon the Great. This is what this all culminating to. Right, and we seeing it playing off in front of our very eyes. NATO standing 10 toes down and saying, what's going on? We're not going to take advantage from you all. Right, you all want to, Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, 6 verse, okay, this doleful lamentation is being taken up against Babylon the Great. Right, and we know when that takes place, we're very close to the end. Because then it's just Jacob Trouble, MOTB, them that reaching the heights of a nuclear destruction, and then Yahushua coming to save us all. God will be a part of the elect. I should say like that, he's coming to save his elect at the end of that. It says, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? None. Or whom did he ever despise or call upon him, which that is where you're gonna need a big part of this thing of ours, as Apostle Gabar would say, is the name of the Lord. In order for you to call upon the Lord, you have to have his name. Right? We're not gonna Bishop need to try and break down Revelation, the 3rd chapter and the 12th verse recently, and you are completely butcher it, claiming we are only get the Lord new name or the Lord name in the kingdom. But how we gonna call upon it, right? Pursuant to Acts 4 and 12, he that call upon the name of the Lord, same shall no sorry, there's neither is there any other name on that, right? Yeah, there's Acts 4 and 12 says, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men by wherein we must be saved. So how are we going to get saved and then find out the name and we have to use the name to get saved? Doesn't make any sense, right? But just a quick video. Lord, it was edifying to the elect. I give all praise, all glory, all honor unto Yahweh, wa Hashem Yahushai, wa Hashem Chak. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of great men, soon as always say shalom to the elect.